I hear
Will be recorded.
I hear you.
Hey, hooker.
Hey, Hooker, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm better now that I see your lovely shining face.
Oh, is it too shiny?
How are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm real good. Ever have one of those days that start off just shit-tastic and they turn out really better?
I'm hoping that today is going to be one of those days. I have had a pile of shit at work day where I seriously considered packing up my office and leaving. And
Whoops.
yeah, and now, and as soon as I left for today, I thought, you know what? I just left it all at work. I'm going to go home now, go to my space, talk to people I love, do my thing, and I'm already feeling a little less murderous.
Do you know about peppering your office or your space?
No, but you know what? That is sounding very familiar. So go ahead and refresh me because I don't know if I've read about it or maybe you told me.
Super simple. When you go out to eat and they give you those little salt and pepper packages, hang on to them. When I was working at a corporate job, I would tear open one of those pepper packets when I came in early and just sprinkle it around my desk saying, no more negativity. Negativity's gone for me.
Nice. Yeah, I actually, I did something today that I normally would not have done, but I hung an evil eye or a repeller. I hung it. We have a little bitty skinny window next to our door, and I hung one in the window. And a lot of people look at that and they're like, oh, that's just Ember being weird because I have all kinds of strange things in my office. Yeah. So I'm hoping that will keep. My issue right now isn't necessarily negativity. It is that my company is suffering a little bit right now, and some of that suffrage has gone into the morale pool, and it's making it very difficult for people. And it's, just people are stressed out,
Yeah. And
a little bit of mix.
Negativity is such a virus at work. One person gets down and they just want to vent to the next person, but, the next person is like, crap, they're right, blah, 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 to the next person.
Yes. So we, I kind of threw people out early today, and hopefully that will, myself included, and hopefully that will help us get back on track. So anyway, hello, Arwen. How are you?
I'm good, sweetie. So everybody, sorry, this is Witchy Wednesday, Witchy Women Wednesday. Whoops.
Witchy Women Wednesday?
We forgot we were doing a video for other people. Or I did.
Arwen and I, if you ever want to know how the conversations between Arwen and I go, this is how it goes.
Focus.
Ooh, shiny.
Ooh, shiny.
You did. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just got my review product from U.S. Games, and that was one of them. Wow, I'm doing it for this week's Terrascope, so I've already been diving into it a little bit. Fun
I'm
stuff.
crossing everything I've got. Do you see this? I'm crossing it. Girl, that's a fabulous deck. Oh my gosh.
It really is. I wasn't sure about it. I'll just scroll for a moment because the Empress is the fat lady of the circus.
I saw that in their little review thing that you could look at and see. I think it's perfect.
For me, it was like, what? Oh, wait. And the guy who did it actually was a professional clown for...
I saw that. He went to clown school.
Yeah, like, wow.
See? I love that. I love that. Well, I'm definitely have you done your review yet, or are you going to?
It's on tap to get done.
Okay.
I was going to do it today, but the video I just posted ended up being more of a rant and a ramble. Somebody asked me about doing 12-month readings on Samhain and doing another one for their birthday, which happens to be November this weekend. And they didn't know how to combine them, and I gave them kind of a longish, brief answer for me in comments that said, I don't do them any longer than 3 to 6 months.
Right.
And they came back and they understood because they immediately got the idea that, oh, you changed things. So I did that, and then I ranted about fake psychics. So I was just a little bit emberish.
I'm going to have to make sure that I watch that video because I definitely think that's a topic that is noteworthy in this community. And I think that coming from someone like you who has been, you've been psychic your whole life, but you've used your gifts professionally for over 20 years now.
Yeah.
And also you use them ethically. So I think it is actually nice to hear from someone who does have that, I'm trying to find a nice word. You have that wonderful history that you can expound on.
Thank you. And ain't no more southern than this, drinking your water out of a mason
Right out
jar.
of the mason jar. Oh my goodness. So you know what? You sent me a really good list of topics this week, and so I wanted to tell our viewers. Arwen sent a really good list of topics, and the one that I pinged on immediately was being partnered or living with someone who doesn't have necessarily the same belief system. Maybe they're not pagan, maybe they are atheist, or maybe they're a devout Catholic, or they have a very different belief system than you. And how do you kind of mesh those households? And I'm going to tell you, when you sent that text, it was really strange because I immediately was like, oh, clearly this needs to be talked about. I was listening to Pandora, and one of my stations that I listen to is, it's called My Ethereal Tori, and it plays Tori Amos and Fiona Apple and just a lot of different, kind of soulful women. Well, one of the songs that was playing was a song by Tori Amos called Cooling, and it was a song that helped me get through a breakup. And the woman that I was breaking up with was a devout Catholic. And yes, there is a line in that song that says, "Is your place in heaven worth giving up all these kisses?" And that was a theme that was running through our entire relationship, as far as, I know that you're a devout Catholic and you think you're going to heaven and you want me to go with you, but if you going to heaven means that you go without me and the love that we have together, is it worth it to you? Because I'm not willing to go to that place with you. And so as soon as you sent that song was on, and I always think about that struggle that we had in our relationship. And we had a lot of other problems, and you know who that was, because you guys, Arwen and I have been friends a long time. We've been through a lot of relationships together and friendships together, and yeah, so wonderful topic. Wonderful.
Well, and I made an assumption that your wife didn't walk the same path, but I was wrong.
She's pagan.
So.
Oh, baby lovin'.
Here comes my Pentecostal cat. She's decided that lipstick is a no-no, so she tries to lick it off my face. So I've decided she's secretly Pentecostal.
Yeah, she's not having that, is she?
She's such a brat.
Did you name her Penny for short?
No, her name is Kisa, for Kissy Kissy Cat.
Kissy.
But yeah, so now do you and your
My partner?
Don't say her name. Don't say her name.
No, it's okay, because I've actually said her name Kath or Lamb. I call her the Lamb, the fluffy little lamb.
Yeah. Have you and Lamb, do y'all walk a similar path? Does she walk her own? I mean, I'm curious. I'm picky nosy.
It's very, very similar. And, she and I have been through a couple of, I have always, and Arwen, you knew me way back when I was agnostic atheist, and I still am atheistic on a certain level. I don't think of goddess as a living entity in the physical form like some people do. I think of it as just a different plane of existence. So she and I have been, now my partner, my wife was a practicing Christian for a long time, and she left her practicing Christian ways before we ever got together, several years before we got together. That was her choice and whatever. And she was pretty agnostic when we met. Now, in the last several years, now she has always been very open to anything behind the purple curtain. She's always been very interested in psychic abilities. She's always read up on, the otherness of the world. Mm-hmm. Well, she is the one who actually, aside from the gentle ass kick that the Morgan gave me, aside from that, my wife is actually the one that was like, what about this? Does this make sense? And I was like, yeah. And she actually does walk a very similar path. She actually has her own God entity that she thinks of as her power zone, and it's very similar. Now, she does not actively practice the way that I do, mm-hmm. but her belief system is very much pantheistic, gods and goddesses. It's very much about the other plane, and it's very much about receiving messages from the world in whatever form they come.
Yeah.
So,
while you were talking, I got an image of a god, and I'll tell you off camera, the god that I saw. It was like, it's actually a god I'm very attached to. So,
Egyptian?
no, not Egyptian. So that's okay. There we go. Good. This is somebody on the other side of the pond.
Okay. Gotcha.
So do you find when you were with somebody who wasn't pagan, did you find that your own time to practice became less available, or you had to carve more time out?
Absolutely. And I was not practicing the craft at the time in the way that I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically educating myself, and I would go see, I would have my cards read. I would go outside and kind of ground. I didn't know that I was grounding at the time, but I would go outside and just kind of stand with my hands up, and I would just let the wind wash over me, and a bit more as the Native American side. And at the time I was doing some genealogy, and I thought, okay, these are my Kiowa roots coming out. Well, she was not having none of that, needless to say, my ex-partner. She thought that anything that was not Christian was of the devil, and labeled anything psychic, anything otherworldly, anything that was not God-centric, and by that I mean Jesus-centric. Yeah. She labeled that as evil and did not want it in the house that we shared together, did not want it anywhere near her, and, really assigned evil, the word and the intent, to a lot of things. Very, very superstitious, which kind of is weird to have in a Christian type thing, but she was. And it made it, we fought a lot. We fought a lot because I refused when we first got together. And you guys have to remember, this has been, 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah, 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, a little bit. When we first got together, I would go to Catholic church with her. I would go to Mass with her because I had practiced Catholicism for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started telling her, I'm not going to be going to Mass with you anymore, it started a lot of fights. And she really was not having it. Well, you've got to go. And I was like, no, I don't have to do anything. This is your belief system, not mine. So I did not have space in this home. She donated a lot of I had several astrology books that I came into the relationship with. Some of them are out of print and are very expensive now, but she donated about 20 books that I had. Now, I did keep my tarot cards hidden that I've had since I was 17 years old. She didn't touch those because I think she knew that I would have probably burned her house down over that. But it was difficult. I didn't have space. I didn't have a time to practice. She would not go to Pagan Pride. She threw a fit when I wanted to go. And I was a much different person then, so I allowed her to really dominate what I did.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been in relationships where my partners weren't pagan and were pagan, and I'm in one now. My husband doesn't follow the path. He is, I'd probably say, agnostic. He's not atheist, but I would say he's agnostic. I think he's more of what I call a Missouri Gnostic. He has to see it to believe it.
Right.
So
he's very scientific in the way he approaches the world.
He is, but he doesn't demean me. Now, sometimes he gets a little tickled over stuff I say and stuff I do. But he actually was in the room and I was doing a reading once, and I told the person that my husband was there so that they knew. I really try to keep my readings, as you know, very confidential, but they knew that he was there. And when I finished the reading, he looked at me and said, so that's what you do. Okay. And that's all he said. It wasn't, yay, that's great, or good God, what are you doing? So it was a very interesting thing for me. And now that we're living together, my witchy side's kind of spiraling out. I don't.
It's taking over.
I've actually cleaned up a little bit back here, but the rocks are starting to come out.
Look great.
So, well, that's because you can't see over there.
He's supportive of you running. He's supportive of you doing your work out of your home. He's supportive of you doing your readings and the time, because that takes time from your relationship.
Yes. And
he does seem very supportive of that. So do you find that you have to kind of pull back on your, because you're very connected when you walk around in the world. Do you find that when you're with him, let's say you're out on a date, that you sometimes have to kind of shield yourself from other things so that when you're out with him, you're not going, you're not being pulled? I try. I'm not very good at it sometimes, but I do try. And because of what he does, when we meet his professional co-workers, I keep my stuff kind of to myself.
a
Right.
couple of reasons. He doesn't need to be known as the one with the crazy wife,
Right.
And already in meeting his coworkers, I've met somebody who is very in tune with me. We're very simpatico. And we had this kind of shorthand discussion while everybody else at the table was talking about something. She and I are down here because she's mentioned that her favorite book was Mists of Avalon. Ding!
Ding.
And so it was like a code, and like then we start chit-chatting, and there's some similarities there. And I don't know if she's pagan, I don't have a clue, but definitely she's more open. And as you know, I live in a town right now that is not
Right.
liberal. I mean, there are signs up here saying Hillary Clinton is a whore and Obama kills babies.
Oh God. Ugh.
It's pretty radically conservative.
It's very red.
It's a very small town. It doesn't have a lot of restaurants, but it has count them, three gun shops and a fourth one opening in the next few months.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're big on, and I don't care. Guns, hey, no biggie, right? We won't get into that discussion because I think you and I are on the same page on that. But it's interesting because sometimes, I want to do or say something or pull him into a working, and I'm like, no, really can't do that. I can do a working around him and for us.
Right.
So it's interesting, and I would say to anybody who lives with somebody who's not pagan, take not pagan out and put in supportive, not supportive, because that's
Right.
more important.
It is. And, I was going to ask you as you were talking, I was thinking, wow, is there we know that we all have types of people that we will not partner up with. We have our list of hell no's. Like, I will not partner with an active drug abuser. I will not partner with, I probably would not partner with a tea partier. There are certain types of personalities that will not mesh with me. Can you think of any belief system, spiritually, religiously, what have you? Can you think of any belief system that would give you pause? And I know this is going to be super controversial, but I'm asking because that's what we do. That if you met somebody and really liked them and they said, oh, I'm a blah, 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 is there any one belief system that you'd go, ooh, I'm going to need to know more about that? Or maybe we're probably not going to be a good fit.
There are a couple. On the pagan path, it might be somebody in the Santerian path, depending on how they practiced it.
Right.
Because I'm not sure that I could emotionally deal with the animal sacrifices that are necessary. They're a necessity to their way of religion. And I'm not going to tell them they can't do that because that's their religion. That's their belief, and that's how they commune with their God, right? Or their Loas. That's their thing. But there's a whole bunch in the Christian faith that I might run screaming from. Foursquare.
Yes.
Foursquare is a big one for me because they are hardcore. Church of Christ.
Yes.
Pentecostal,
Assemblies of God, they tend to be very, yes.
Yeah, and Pentecostals maybe. One of my cousins married a Pentecostal man, and he was very religious, very faithful to his religion, but he didn't put it on other people.
Right.
A Mormon, I would actually absolutely hang out with a Mormon because they're actually taught that if somebody is a witch or a Wiccan, Jehovah's Witnesses too, that you just don't preach to them because basically we're a lost cause. And it's a great way if you get a JW at your door, although I will let them talk to me because I truly believe in freedom of religion. And
Right.
if I do, I can't say to you, hell no, I don't want to hear about your stuff. So I give them what I want back. I may not get it from them, but I'll get it from somebody else. So I think any religion who is so fundamental that they can't see beyond their brick walls, if they've got picket fences, I'm good. Brick walls, I'm not good. How's that?
I think that's fair, and I think that would go for, that could go for people inside the craft too.
Mm-hmm.
I may not choose to partner with, I don't know. I mean, if I met if I met someone who practiced Druidism, and they were so strict about their, and I'm not sure, is Druidism or Druidry? I'm not sure which one is correct. I think it's Druidism. And I don't want to speak ignorantly, but if there was something that was very strict about their belief system that did not allow them to see me as an equal partner,
Yeah.
we would probably have a problem. And that would be my problem with there are a lot of belief systems around the world where women are not equal. Gay people like me are not equal. You know, people of a certain age are not seen as equal. It would have to be about equality. It would have to be that I am just as respected in the relationship as they are.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that really hits it. Support, equality, you know,
Yes.
and truly, you know, and some people would immediately say, and I'm going to go off on a hot topic that's hot, hot, hot right now. So, but some people would say that all Muslims hate women. Now, if you talk to a Muslim woman, many of them will tell you they feel safe in their burqa. They
Right.
feel protected. In the Quran, the woman is covered to protect her. It's not to demean her or hold her back. It's their version of protection. Now,
Right.
would it work for me? I don't know. I might get hot. I get sweaty. But, you know, I'm not going to say that just because somebody is Muslim, they're bad.
Right.
And I wouldn't go out with them. You know, I've had discussions with Muslims, with people who follow the Hindu faith,
Right.
Buddhists. I love getting in those discussions with people when and you have to get in it with the right person. You know,
Yes.
you can't, because some people are so.
You're going to find extremists in every belief system, and that includes Wicca, witchcraft. You're going to find extremists.
Oh, yeah.
And I've actually found a lot of Eastern religions to be very peaceful and peacefully based. They're very based in peace and tranquility, unlike some Western religions, unfortunately. And I'm not going to call out any specific ones because I don't want to start a war. But, you know, I think that the religions that are more about the self, and I consider witchcraft to be one of them, they're more about bettering the self and not trying to better other people before you have bettered the self. Those are the religions, you know, because I do feel sometimes that there are some belief systems out there that don't really do enough work around, okay, let's get to be the best us that we can be before we go out and try to do for other people. We just start doing things for other people and we're an asshole. You know?
I just saw on Facebook, I don't know if you've seen this meme yet, but it's just one of those little square ones that says, I didn't fucking say that. And it's signed, God, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna.
Yep.
And I fell out because I really think that the misinterpretation of a bunch of religions, and I can point a finger at Wicca and BTW, British Traditional Witchcraft.
Yes.
You get with a BTW and you get with somebody who's not, like say you walk in and talk about your circle and you get this from the BTWs, not all, but some will go,
yeah, you're not doing it right. And you're not doing it right.
You didn't call the quarters the same way every time. Child.
Yep.
You know, hey, back off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that fundamentalism is a really, really, it's not a cloak I would want to don. And I can be fundamentalist about my anti-fundamentalism, so there you go.
Well, I can too, and I was going to say, you know, have you found, I sometimes have felt even because, you know, you've got the pagan community in the world, then you've got the pagan community that you rub elbows with in person, and then you've got your YouTube community. And in this little microcosm of YouTube, I have seen some discussion around the more anti-fundamentalist you can be, the better it is. Because if you're choosing your own and writing your own and you're not following any of the traditions to the letter that have ever been followed, well, that's the best kind of witch to be. And to me, I'm like, I can get with that on some level, but on some level, there are certain herbs and incenses and chants that have been done for hundreds of years that are tradition. And to me, I don't fuck with certain things. Certain things I think are meant to be done the same way every time. But I also believe that if I'm a very eclectic witch in that I practice old school witchery in that I am Romany based. I have an Appalachian grandmother. I have a Kiowa grandmother. And so I've got a lot of convergence of different types of belief systems. And, there's been some discussion on YouTube about appropriation, about white people practicing, spiritualities that don't belong to them.
Yeah.
And my response to that is we all practice a spirituality that technically doesn't belong to us. And technically, all spiritualities belong to everyone. Because to me, if you're practicing in a way that honors and respects,
Yeah.
Well, now,
and the people that do that, and then I ask them if they're Celtic, and if they say yes, I say, well, isn't Celtic place-based? Because the Celt gods, the originals, were place-based. They were, Bridget was at a well. She wasn't wandering around. She was at a well. But let me just divulge for a minute, or
yes.
go off on a tangent. Did you just tell me you're a Gypsabilidian?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Gypsabilidian. Yeah, yeah. Wow, did you really coin a new phrase? I'm a Gypsabilly. Gypsabilly.
This is my friend, the Gypsabilidian witch.
Gypsabilian?
Oh, what? Just go with it.
That's honestly a great way to think of it, because honestly, if you look at, each of us have our heritage, which is what is in our bloodline. And then, I may be born in Arkansas and raised here, but I may find out that, I have roots that are in ancient China. I may not, practice Chinese medicine in my home. I may not know anything about China, but if I find out that, years and years ago,
yeah,
I have ancestors from China, I may want to go and study that and find out about where my roots are. And I don't think it's right, just because I may not look a certain way or be a certain thing, for someone else to come in and go, you don't have a right to study that or honor that. Now, before I move on, that does not mean that white people get to drag out the fabled Cherokee medicine woman every time they want to wear, or they want to wear something that is Native American in roots, and they think that that gives them the right to do that, because people do that, and they need to not do that, because that's incredibly disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
that's when I go off on people who have raptor feathers without permission.
Yes,
it's not okay. It's not. So, but we won't go into that, because that gets into federal law, and I'm not a lawyer. Are you?
I'm not a lawyer, but I may have a raptor feather. But it did come from a deceased bird, and it's in a place of honor. Am I okay? Yes. We should talk about that. Next time we do our thing, we should talk about totems in our practice, and maybe some of the laws around them, and maybe some respectful ways to keep them.
I like that a lot. I really do. And I hope that everybody who's watching knows, leave your questions on the video. We are piss poor about remembering who said what.
Yes, but we can at least go back to this video and look them up.
And we'll try. We really will try. And is there anything you want to say just in closing about living with a non-pagan partner?
In closing, it can be done. It is sometimes struggle, and it's sometimes work. But I will tell you that one of the lessons I have learned, being ancient like I am, is that we are all entitled to our belief system, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. And sometimes you have to learn to stand your ground in any way you can. There are several people here who are married to husbands and wives that don't want them practicing witchcraft for whatever reason. And sometimes you may have to be in the broom closet, but if you're able in your relationship, if it's emotionally safe for you, find a way to claim your space, even if it's your kitchen windowsill with a little bowl of water and some salt and a rock from outside. Yeah. Figure out a way to do it that doesn't upset the apple cart.
Yep. And that's a really good topic. We should talk about tiny altars everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, sisters. But because I believe that everybody, even Christians, have altars they don't realize.
Oh, absolutely. Go in any church, there's altars. Please. There's incense, candles, coins. Please.
And I'll go in a Catholic church into Mary's nave or into the Mary Chapel and light a candle in a heartbeat. My mama was Catholic. I have no no weirdness around that. Lightning is not going to hit my head. God and I have a deal. But what I would say to people in closing is don't put yourself in danger, just what Ember just said, particularly if you've got kids and you've got a non-respectful, non-supportive partner in that area. We're going to assume they're respectful and supportive in every other area. Because if they're not, that's a whole nother ball of wax that involves the cops.
Yes.
But if you've got a partner who doesn't want to be on your path, it's okay. You're not less of a witch because they don't want to walk with you. They're not less of a human because they've chosen a different way of belief. You love them for a reason, right? So don't get angsty about it. Don't get all butthurt because they won't come play with your tarot cards, Arwen.
Right. Because your spirituality is ultimately about you and you alone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's your path. And many witches walk it in silence. You probably work with witches that you don't know simply because, unlike being gay, it's still not popular to be a witch.
Absolutely.
So, thanks so much for joining us, y'all. I am Arwen of Tarot by Arwen, telling you to seek joy.
And I'm Ember Honeyraven, the Big Fat Witch, and I have no tagline like Seek Joy, so I'm going to tell you to seek joy too because it's fabulous.
You can have my tagline.
I'm going to make one up.
Okay, baby, and I think I'm going to see you next week or week after. So
either one, but tag me. And you guys, happy Witchy Women Wednesday. Walk in the weird, wild, wonderful way.
What she said. Bye, y'all.
Bye.